What is up, you guys? Welcome back to Katie Counseling. My name's Claudia, and today we're going to talk about what does a therapist actually do? Like, what do I do when I'm at my internship, and what am I going to do when I graduate? Because I think that you guys have this question, at least I had this question, like, what do you actually do, right? Because we know we do therapy, but like, what does a day look like? And I've tried to show you guys what a day looks like without being able to take you in, like I'm not allowed to record anything at my site, so I can only talk about it. But yeah, I just want to give you like an insight about like what you'll be doing when you're licensed, what this really looks like, at least for where I'm at, right? Everybody has a different experience, but pretty much what a therapist does kind of anywhere they work at are these things. So before I get started, follow me at Katie Counseling over on Instagram, and let me know if you have any questions. DM me. I share a bunch of like mental health stuff on there, so yeah, let me know if you need anything from me. So yeah, I was thinking about this topic the other day. I'm like, let me just tell them like what we do, because now I'm doing everything a therapist does on my own. Nobody's holding my hand. So fun fact, I have my notepad here. So yes, your notepads and things like that, that is what you do, right? So I'll just start very quickly with groups. When I get ready for groups, what I have to do is grab my notepad, or if I want to, I write my notes on my iPad. This is like the computer version of it. Or I can take it out and I have like a different case for it, and I just write on Notability on one of the apps, which is a little bit easier, and then I have to delete everything, and if you take notes like on a piece of paper, you have to shred everything later when you're done with the notes. But yeah, pretty much depending on how many clients are there, I write their name down and I take notes, my observations and things I will have to put in a group note later. So as long as now we're talking about group notes, it's different than individual notes in a sense where if I have an individual session, we do a certain kind of note for that. So very quickly, I think I've mentioned this before, when you have a group of people that you're working with and you're using electronic medical records, which a lot of the jobs that want to hire you kind of require you having the knowledge of using electronic medical records. So pretty much what you do is they give you a template, you add all the people that are present, and each person has their own little bubble, and it's like doing individual notes. You write your observations, what they said, quotes, things like that. So you have a kind of like a receipt of them being there, what they said, how they're doing. If there's anything alarming, like any ideations of any kind, again, I don't think I'm allowed to say the word on here, but you mark that down. You make sure, you talk about eye contact, you talk about how their appearance is, how their mood is. It's almost like always you're doing like a mini status exam, like making sure they're good, right? So if you see any red flags, you can pull them to the side and have it individual and talk about it. Especially in substance abuse where I work, in addictions, it could go like this, you know what I mean? One day they come in, they're good. The next day they come in and they're a completely different place. So you have to make sure you're really watching for those things. So yeah, that's what you do with group notes. And the type of notes that we use and I've learned how to use in electronic medical records are DAP notes. So I don't know, what is it, like data assessment, and then I don't know what the third thing is, I'm sorry. I should look it up, right? Let me look it up real quick because I have my iPad. I know it, I forgot it though. Okay. Yeah, data assessment and plan. What is a DAP note? DAP stands for data assessment and plan. These are 3 sections in the DAP note format that walk through the information presented to you, your clinical findings, and a plan of action. It covers the necessary details while helping you stay brief. They're great. I like DAP notes. So you do a DAP note in individual sessions. So like when you have an individual session, afterwards you have to put in the time, right? You have to put in what time the client came in, what time the client left, when's their next appointment, and again, your assessment of what's going on. And we always put like anything we're observing as well, even more thoroughly, right? And then usually like what you write about the session is a lot longer than you would in groups. So it's like a big paragraph. So it's like 2 to 3 paragraphs, like 15 sentences, I don't know, something like that. And yeah, so that is what you do for like notes and stuff. Usually in the morning when I get there, we do have a case conference with the other therapists. We talk if anything's changed. We talk about any observations. We talk about like if anything else like came out about, I don't know, let's say there was a new theory or CBT has some kind of training or something. We talk about stuff like that. You can bring up anything that you're struggling with, or if you have any questions. And even in like a team, if you're licensed, like you always want to, you want to talk and share, and there's therapists that have different experiences than you, and you can run things by them, and talking about certain subjects they might have more knowledge about. So that's so good to be able to work in a team and to have that, because that's amazing. So yeah, pretty much you come in, you have your conference with the other therapists, you run the group, then we have a break. So during your break, you can kind of get ready for the next thing. At my facility, it's intensive outpatient, so we have psychoeducational group as well. I run that, so I usually get ready. I print out anything I need to print out, so pretty much I pick like what I want to do that day. And I've had time to really like go over a lot of psychoeducational material. So I do kind of have like a binder with stuff ready to go. And since the program's only 8 weeks, and a lot of people only stay for 4 to 6 weeks, I'm able to reuse certain things depending on like the topics that are discussed in the group beforehand, right? So the first group is like therapy group. It's called process group. And then after that, we have psychoeducation. So if something comes up, let's say like attachment styles or family dynamics or something like that comes up, I go into my thing and I find the appropriate psychoeducational piece to present in psychoed. So it kind of ties in together, and the clients are getting what they need, right? Because, if somebody is going through something tough, and then, any psychoeducational subject is good, but if you can tie it in together to give them even more value, it's good stuff. So yeah, that's kind of been what I've been working on since August, is just saving and remembering how to do certain psychoeducational topics. And they can be anything from meditating. I've done urge surfing, meaning like for addiction, like if you feel like using, there's like, it's like a wave, it goes up, then it peaks and then goes down. And I provide the people with like links to different meditations when they're feeling like that at home. Again, with the self-care one, like we have like little assessments, we have assessments that we give them, and they see like where they're lacking in social self-care. Like, are you hanging out with friends? Are you building relationships? Are you maintaining relationships? Psychological, self-care. Are you doing this and that? At work, you're like, professional self-care. Like, what are you doing? Are you growing? Are you happy with where you're at? And these are all subjects where like, I usually just go around the room and ask, okay, who wants to share under this section? And they will tell you, and people will bring up points that other people can relate to, and it just works. It's great. Because everybody gets like a different perspective, and, they get to talk about things that usually people don't get to talk about. Those are the kind of things that you kind of keep within yourself if you're not, doing as well. Or, sometimes we forget that therapy is not always just digging in the past and seeing like what I did wrong, but it's really like the strength based of what am I doing right? Even though I felt like I've been messing up, what have I done right in those times? And I like to highlight those things in people because they like to really be tough on themselves and but perceive their reality as though they did nothing right ever. And I don't see that. There's people that have done a lot of things that are right, and those need to be showcased because that took a lot of hard work and to do. So I really like strength-based, you guys. That's gonna be one of my pitching points for myself, and I want to go get hired at a private practice, you know, because I do believe that, you know, people work hard, and sometimes, you know, they end up in a place where they need help. So yeah, so pretty much when we get done with the psychoeducational group, that's another group note that I have to do. Most of the time I do these the next day because I work at night. If I didn't, if this was like, you know, if I was there full time now, I would just do the notes right after. I've become very fast and proficient at writing notes. I have a way that I write them. I have a way that I take notes to implement like a good structure to a note that's cohesive. You know, I get a quote, I make sure I listen to what they're saying, I make sure like I'm serving like their mood and everything that's going on, and I just kind of have the note and I put it together, and that's it. And with the group note, usually for psychoeducation, the big note, we have a group note on the bottom, like you kind of describe how the group was doing. Because if you learn about group dynamics, you know that there's norming, storming, performing, adjuring, whatever. There's other ones where they go through stages. So sometimes you might have a group where, you know, there's so many new people and the group's just not flowing and things like that. And you can note that, you know, in your group description and what the people talked about and things like that. So then usually after psychoed, I will have individual sessions. So I do that. And in an individual session, pretty much what you do, you welcome your client into your office, they sit down, you make sure they're comfortable, you make sure they have water, whatever they need. You always, you know, let them know. You can always get up, get water, you can do whatever you want. You can always ask me questions. And most of the times clients just come in and start talking, and you do the 30 or an hour session. And I usually have my notepad and I write down like little things. I like to keep eye contact. I don't like to just be in my notepad or on the computer or anything like that. So that's pretty much for individual sessions. And then afterwards, I'm still a clinical intern, so I get together with my supervisor. I go over the session. They go over any critiques they have, or like anything they want to mention or highlight from how I did in psychoeducation group or how I did in process group. Because I'm a facilitator, I'm a co-facilitator, we all do it together. So it's not like I'm sitting there listening to them do the therapy group, I'm doing the therapy group. And most of the time, I'm not saying they're making me do the whole thing on my own, but I'm pretty much leading the group, and the co-facilitators are there, but they're allowing me more space for me to let it flow, I guess. I don't know how to say that, you know, but I call on people and I ask them questions and things like that. So we're getting there, you guys. I'm almost about to graduate in a few months, so I'm extremely excited. I'm so thankful to God. I'm going to just have to say that I'm just so thankful for all the power and the strength and everything that I've received this year. And I hope that you guys are doing amazing. So yeah, I will catch you in my next video.